Hello, and welcome to the walkthrough for the COVID-19 testing locations. In addition to the walkthrough that you should have received by email, we wanted to provide a kind of video narrative and walkthrough of what we're looking for to help people find COVID-19 testing locations. So as you probably heard about, here's the COVID-19 testing location website, which has listings for about 35 of the states currently, with listings for each individual location. So you can click on view all locations for California, and you'll see listings for California. And California is pretty well fleshed out, so it's a good place to start if you're looking to understand how this works. But what you're going to be helping with is helping get the data here that actually shows up on this website, and we'll give you a quick peek into how that works. So all this data originates from a set of Google Sheets. So there's one individual sheet for each state, and that holds all of the data we need to publish to the site. So California is good. If you want to learn this process, you can click into any of these, reverse engineer what's happening, and learn from the work that's already been done. I recommend you start with California because it's been the one we've been working on the longest. So quick introduction to the individual state sheet here. You have the name of the sheet, and then you have a handful of worksheets within this sheet for tracking the different details that we need for the COVID-19 microsite. If you're coming into a sheet to actually work on it, we recommend changing the name, just appending your name to the end in parentheses and hitting enter. And this way, when anybody else is back here working and looking to dive into one, they can see you're working in California, and they can go to another worksheet and not step on each other's toes. It's one of the reasons why we went with 50 separate sheets. Now each state has an organizations tab. These are the organizations who are behind a testing location. Don't sweat trying to find an email because we're not super concerned with it. But if you can get the name, description, and URL for the organization who's behind each testing location, it provides a little bit of credibility behind each location. If you can't, that's probably a good sign. You probably shouldn't enter the testing location. We need several layers of verification here to make sure it's a credible location. Each entry has an identifier, so this is one to just in sequence one, and you just hand enter them. We're not auto incrementing or anything. So when you add a new organization, we'll just add 23, and then the rest of the name, description, and URL goes here. Don't sweat this. We'll be working on cleaning it and helping you manage this. So each organization can have potentially many locations. So here's the locations worksheet. You'll see we have actually 40 locations. And if you go back to the organizations, we've got 22 organizations. So a handful of organizations have multiple locations. As you can see here, 14, these are all the same organization. So each location has its own identifier, as well as being linked to whatever organization it's associated with. We have the name, we have the alternate name, which sometimes can be duplicate, but not always. And then we have the description, what type of transportation is available. If you're unsure, just make it bus, Uber, and car. And then update the date when you updated this data, because this will show on the site showing that it's been updated recently. And then whether it's featured or not, this just handles whether it's featured on the homepage. Don't worry about it, just put false, and we'll handle changing this up for you. So that should get you all the location information you need, a name and description being the most critical. And then the physical address. We break up the physical address into a separate sheet. We associate it with the location ID, and then we add the address, city, region, if possible. If not, don't worry about it, just enter an NA. and then state, province, the state that it's in. This is in California. It's a little redundant, but we still need it. And then the postal code and country. All of these worksheets have a notes column. If you have any questions, or there any concerns, you're just not sure, go ahead and post any notes here. And then we do the same for phone number. We associate it with the location ID. We put the number in case there's multiple numbers. And then we have any extension type of phone, which is usually office, but sometimes it'll be other. And then any languages, if you're unsure, just put English. And then the description of what that phone number, if possible. And then we have regular schedule, which again is linked by location ID. The weekday column is just 1 through 7, which is not as clear as it seems like it should be, but it is. This is 1 is Sunday, 7 is Saturday, and then opens at, closes at. And so this is, 24 hours a day, Sunday through Saturday. And so it takes a little bit to get used to the weekday thing and see and read between the numbers. But you can usually just copy and paste a block of 7 and then change the dates as needed, or the times as needed. And then we have the source for each one. So where did this come from? This is another attribution. Where you found it, the tweet, the URL of the website, the hospital. Sometimes news reports is a good place. So we need, for verification, we need an organization behind each location, and then we need what that source would come to, or where it came from, to help us know that there's actually one reference to it. Don't worry about the leads tab. We were pumping in leads here. You're welcome to follow up on some of them, but really we're just relying on your ability to search and go through Twitter. So each sheet here is in separate worksheets. Sorry for the challenge in entering the data. It's a little bit more cumbersome having it in separate sheets, but it does allow for what's considered one-to-many relationships between one organization. Can have many locations, one location can have many physical addresses, many phone numbers, and many regular schedules. This is called the open referral format. It's an open 211 format. So if you're familiar with 911, it's emergencies. 311 is non-emergencies, like potholes, trash in the streets. And 211 is how you find health and human services within cities and counties and states. And so we wanted to adopt an existing format. And this makes it so that you can not just manage this data in Google Sheets, but you can access it and share it in Google Sheets. So there's a reason behind it, even if it does feel a little bit cumbersome. But once you're done working on a sheet, make sure and remove your name so that people can get in there and work, but we don't step on each other's toes. And then once you're done editing it and you've made all your changes, make sure and just email us at covid-19@postman.com that you're done. And then what we'll do is we'll run our build, and we can look at Postman here real quick just to kind of show you how that works, but you won't be expected to do that. This is what just happens behind the scenes once you email us. Once you email me, oops, we got to change up accounts. I got to get into my Postman account here. And then I will switch to my COVID-19 testing location workspace. And I have a location management here, and I have an environment for all 50 states. And what I do is I just run, using the runner, I run this, this management associated with whichever state, and it does all the build for us. It pulls the data from the Google Sheet and publishes it to GitHub as needed for the application. So I just wanted to give you a quick look on how that works. You're not required to do anything there, but it just helps to understand why you're doing something and how it works behind the scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this sheet. Here's all 50. We have data in about 35 of these states, but then there's a handful of them. I believe, let's look. I believe Rhode Island maybe is empty. Yeah, so you'll see there's no organizations yet, there's no locations, and we could use some help there. But you're welcome to dive into one of the existing states and just continue to round off the locations that exist. And then you're welcome to help flesh out some of the new ones that we need. You can go back to the testing location site anytime, and you can see how we're updating things. And then if you have any questions, email Ken or Hannah, but you can just hit that COVID-19 postman.com and we'll both get it, and we'll be there to answer your questions. And we appreciate your help. Thanks for stepping up and doing this, and make sure you take care of yourself as you're doing this work, because it is hard work. You'd be surprised. You'll be doing it for a couple hours and then you'll realize the toll that it takes. And make sure and step away, spend time taking care of yourself, and let us know if it's too much or you can't do it. We totally understand, and we appreciate your help on all of this. Thank you so much.